Hello everyone and welcome back to DET Coach's Beginner's Guide to the Duolingo English Test. In this lesson, we'll focus on recognizing prefixes and suffixes in Read and Select. Some invented words in Read and Select are not random combinations of letters. They borrow real prefixes, roots, and suffixes, which makes them look like genuine English words. But there is only one standard that matters. Does the word as a whole actually exist? Part 1. Understand prefixes and suffixes. A prefix usually appears at the beginning of a word and provides a clue to its meaning. When the prefix un is added to an adjective, it often creates its opposite. When it is added to a verb, it often describes a reverse action. When the prefix re is added to a verb, it usually means doing something again. When the prefix mis is added to a verb or noun, it often refers to doing something incorrectly or to an incorrect action. Unhappy, rewrite, and misunderstand are all real words. Suffixes are more useful for identifying a word's part of speech. For example, the suffixes able and ible often form adjectives. The suffixes tion, sion, and ment often form nouns. Adding the suffix ly to an adjective often forms an adverb. Prefixes and suffixes can provide clues, but they cannot prove that a word is real. Being able to divide a word into a prefix, root, and suffix does not mean you should select the S option. Part 2. Watch for invalid combinations of roots and affixes. Some invented forms are invalid because their roots and affixes do not combine naturally, or because the meaning of the word as a whole does not make sense. Consider sustainful. Ful is a real suffix, but it is usually added to a noun and means full of something. Sustain is a verb, so this combination is not natural. The common, established form is sustainable, meaning able to be sustained. Now consider unwiseable. Adding the prefix un to an adjective can indeed create its opposite, and wise is an adjective. However, the suffix able is usually added to a verb to indicate that the action can be performed. For example, readable means able to be read, and washable means able to be washed. Forcing the suffix able onto wise may produce something that looks English, but the result is not a valid word. Another example is developness. The suffix ness is usually added to an adjective to form a noun. Dark becomes darkness, and kind becomes kindness. But develop is a verb, so developness is not a natural formation. The common noun is development. Then there is reded. The prefix re means doing something again. But dead describes a state, not an action that can be performed again. Though tren, the meaning of reded therefore does not make sense. Ask yourself 2 questions. Have I seen this exact word before? And do the prefix, suffix, and root combine naturally? Part 3. Recognize established derived forms. Real derived words often follow fixed patterns of change. They are not created by simply attaching any suffix you choose. For example, the noun form of decide is decision. The noun form of anomalous is anomaly. The noun form of anxious is anxiety. The noun form of prudent is prudence. The noun form of strong is strength. And the noun form of deep is depth. They are not forms such as strongness or deepness created by guesswork. These examples highlight an important point. Real derived words often change their spelling. Sometimes a letter changes, and sometimes the ending changes. So when you encounter an unfamiliar derived word on the test, do not select yes based on instinct alone. For a more complete prefix and suffix chart, see this lesson's illustrated guide in the Prefix and Suffix Recognition section of the DET Coach website. I'll see you in the next lesson.